Hey guys, welcome to the next episode of the Rug Talk Podcast. I'm your host, Aryan Devachi. I'm excited to be here today and doing this show. A little bit of background about how this whole show came about. In the last 20 plus years of being in the rug business and operating my rug finder business, I've had the privilege of working with some incredible interior designers. I've had access to CEOs, executives, serial entrepreneurs, ultra successful business owners, athletes, celebrities, you name it. And I've had some really incredible stories purely over rugs. And I thought, what better way to bring this whole thing full circle and to create this podcast where we are creative with it and we could have some storytelling sessions and share some of these stories that I've had over the years. You know, this platform is also designed to motivate people, to be inspirational, and to, at the same time have fun in hearing our guests' stories. So I'm excited to have our next guest on the Rug Talk Podcast. I've known this designer for a long, long time. I've had the privilege of seeing a lot of his work. And it's with great pleasure that I read some of his awards and a lot of the things in his background. The designer and his Eponymous Design House are known for work that is at once bold and decorative, yet classic, unexpected, and layered with narrative, with a multidisciplinary portfolio of residential, commercial, and hospitality interior design projects, as well as lifestyle product and furniture collections. The luxury brand works fluidly to blend storied elements with a modern context that have come to define his signature style. From distinguished private residence to iconoclastic tasting rooms, his design projects inspire a level of sophistication and individuality that belie constant curiosity, an inspirational byproduct of his upbringing and his infinite travels, which I've had the experience of hearing about. His work is regularly featured in esteemed design publications including Architectural Digest, Lux Magazine, House Beautiful, C Magazine, Elle Decor, California Home and Design, just to name a few. He graduated with a degree in environmental design from Boston University. He went on to work for several notable designers in San Francisco before founding his own design house in 2000. It is with great pleasure to introduce our next guest, interior designer Will Wick from Wick Design. Brother, great to see you. Great to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for doing the show.
Of course. Happy to be here.
How's life? How are things going?
Things are great. Things have been obviously challenging over the past few years, but I think we're all experiencing that. But we trudge forth. And, design doesn't quit. So here we are.
Actually, through the pandemic, design was just flourishing.
Just booming. I know. People got excited about it.
Out of control, great. Let's just say that.
I know.
So we're gonna jump right into this. We're gonna have some time to have our guests learn a little bit about you. So please, tell me how you got into interior design. Now, I got to share this story. When I originally met you, it was a long, long time ago. And, in the design business, I would say it's, operated by mostly women. And you were a male interior designer. And we immediately clicked. And, tell me how it's been being an interior designer in that space.
Well, yeah, I started quite a while ago, 25 years ago. And I just remember back in that day, there were very few, there were male designers, but there were very few, if any, straight male designers. So I was finding myself in a very unique situation in San Francisco. So I sort of carved out that little niche for myself, and clearly that's no longer the case, but it's been great. When you're a designer, you're a designer. And I just jumped in and I loved it. Very hard to work for other people as a young man and working in that industry. So I actually pretty quickly started my own career a couple of years in, and it's just taken off. I love it. It's been very, very interesting career and very fun. So,
I consider myself an entrepreneur, and when I hear stories of people, doesn't matter what industry you're in, but in your particular case, you are an entrepreneur. You started this business with a passion that you like to do, and it's flourished into a really incredible career. So hats off to you on that entrepreneurial spirit, for sure. Yeah. So what's one of the best places you've completed a project?
I've done a number of incredible projects. I'd say one of the notable ones, particularly in the style that I love to do, was a project in Montana at the Yellowstone Club. And it was just kind of the best project you could find. The best architect, this friend of mine, Larry Pearson, was hired to do this incredible project. We had a very short amount of time to do it. And we clicked. The architect and I clicked, and we both had the same vision. And it was just spectacular. But it was also a very short project. It was very quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always awesome to be able to click with, obviously the client or the architect or the contractor, because it makes the project just so much better.
Yeah, I think it was the architect and the client came up with a vision, a general vision. And this architect in particular, he and I really clicked, which I think is often very difficult because architects tend to like to control a lot of sort of the architectural components.
Right.
We happened to click. We were gelling on a lot of the ideas. And so we were both just back and forthing with that. And our client loved seeing what was happening, had a point of view, but saw that we were running with it and just said, go for it.
What an amazing feeling, right? Like to have that opportunity and that working out, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So when you guys spoke a while ago, you'd mentioned you're starting a new venture. And again, just being entrepreneur, I always love hearing new stories, new ideas. And you told me what you were doing, and I said, look, let's talk about it. So please share this new venture, this new idea that you have. I think it's brilliant, actually.
Thank you. So yes, as I mentioned, I've had a lot of different aspects of my career. I started with interior design, and then I added the antiques business that you know about, obviously. And then I added furniture design, which became a big part of my career for a while, and it's sort of still on the side. And I just weave all of my stuff together. And I got a little bit bored, and so now a friend of mine, Chris Irk, and I have decided to get into the auction house business.
Amazing.
Been doing auctions for 25 years, buying the antiques for clients, buying them for myself, for my antique shops. And I've been going to Round Top, Texas for the last 20 years and primarily buying. And over the last 3 or 4 years, I've been selling at Marburger Farms.
Okay.
And then I noticed that there were a lot of people at the end of these shows who had antiques that they didn't sell. And rather than bringing them home all the way back to Seattle or Tennessee or Boston or Michigan, that they might be interested in consigning the antiques for us to sell at an auction house. So we're putting that together right now. It's super exciting. I love antiques so much. It's like half of the love for my business that I do is just the trade of antiques around the world is just fascinating.
It really is.
And I think, that would be a fascinating story for you as doing these podcasts to see how the antiques around the world trade through time. It's very cool. So,
I've had the privilege of seeing your items in your store.
Yeah.
And I always remember coming into the store, I would always be blown. I would ask you, Will, where'd you get this from? How did you find this? And it is very fascinating because you're basically bringing a piece from from some sort of time and displaying.
I might find it in Turkey or London outside in like a little junk shop.
Yeah.
Brazil. And then to see it come to my shop or maybe sit in my warehouse and be dusty and crusty. And then I throw it into my showroom and then it gets to a client's house, which is beautiful.
Special.
I love it. Yeah. It feels just like full circle. So
it is. What's also interesting is that how you can visualize that, right? You can see this piece of antique and you can visualize it to bring it back and then find a home for it that is, extremely cool, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't find the home. Well, sometimes I find that for it, but sometimes, in the antique side, the shop, people come in and then you'll see, and oftentimes I'll get a photograph in an email or a text.
That's cool.
From the client who has it and says, oh my God, I just need you to see what happened here.
That's cool.
So I brought just one quick story. I have a very good friend who had an incredible collection. He's from the Bay Area. He had an incredible collection of sombreros.
Okay.
And they were real deal, like museum quality sombreros. And I had been dying for them for years, but they were so expensive. And at some point when I knew I was going to start selling at Round Top, I said, well, I think I should probably bring these down there because if there's any market that these things are going to sell, it's probably there. So I negotiated a deal with him. I got these incredible sombreros. There were about 12 of them. And most of them were museum quality, if not like very, very, very high quality. And I brought them to the show. And everyone took pictures of them the entire first show. Everyone's going crazy. I had all these people asking me these questions. And I was like, wow, this is crazy. Yeah.
That's great.
And no one bought them in the first show, but I brought them back to the second show. And 5 minutes. Client comes in. It was a very prominent decorator from Dallas. Comes in. We'll take them.
Wow.
Sold the sombreros.
So
a lot of money.
That's
and
amazing.
he was very, very chill.
Yeah.
Very cool. And he said, I'd love to have your email. And 4 months later, he sends me a picture of him in the entry to this incredible ranch that out in the campo or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just so cool to see.
Great story, man.
You find them and then you see them displayed, and then the designer has to make them look great.
Yeah, and brought it to life.
Yeah.
That's really cool. That's really cool. All right, so let's talk about your creative side. How do you get inspired? Being in the industry that you are, you always have to be creative. You always got to be inspired. So what do you do to do that?
Well, it can be a challenge. Like during COVID, it was hard to travel, and travel is my main source of inspiration.
You love to travel.
I love to travel. And the more I travel, the more I see.
Of course.
The more I realize that, you get pigeonholed in creativity based on where you are, and the more you travel, the more you see. So travel, I would say, is the main source of creativity for me. And then I just like to surround myself with really innovative, creative people who don't take no for an answer, who take major risk.
Yeah.
At the risk of failure, because I've failed a lot of times in my creative sense. I've taken some chances that didn't work out. It's embarrassing, but when you take the creativity and it works, it brings you to the next level, and you're like, okay, I'm willing to take the risk of failing,
of course,
to succeed.
A lot of things that people don't seem to understand is that, look, it doesn't happen overnight. No. You got to fail. You got to fall down. And the good ones get up, pick themselves up. Mm-hmm. Whatever. That was yesterday. You got to move on and you keep going.
And you'll see, I think you'll see creativity in risk. And the borders are like pretty design. Yeah. But not innovative, out there, wacky. And it doesn't have to be for me. Like I'll look at some really, World of Interiors, for example, or some of the wackier stuff in AD, and I might say, wow, this is so out there for me. It's not really my taste, but I'm so psyched to see people just push limits. So,
this reminds me of, you did Decorated Showcase House. I forgot what year it was, but there's
done a few.
You've done a few,
6, I think.
But I'll tell you the project that has always stayed in my mind. It was a room you did, I believe it was upstairs. And either it was the library or a cigar room, but I remember you guys did, from floor to ceiling, you did books.
Yes.
And, well, I tell you, man, I still remember that room like I saw it yesterday. And I remember standing there looking at it saying, how did you think of this? It was so amazing. It changed the whole complexion of this room. Yeah. But it was really cool.
Thank you. Yeah, I remember that. It was like a drawing room or a library, and it was sort of the first prominent room that I'd ever been given. Yeah. It was at the very top of the stairs. It was like right in a pass through. And I wanted a fireplace in the back of that room. So I rented a fireplace from some French guy down in the design district. Yeah. And I put it up against the wall. And then I filled that entire wall with logs, if you don't remember.
I remember the logs.
So I stuffed the logs in the fireplace, and I filled them all the way up that side of the wall just to kind of terminate that thing. And then I did the hat molds and the books, those French books. Yeah, yeah. I don't know where it comes from. Sometimes you just kind of run with it, and you just play, and you're like, hope it works out. But it's like a painting. You just like do the brush strokes, and
Yeah.
God, I hope it's gonna work.
But it's like concepts and designs like that where you say you push the envelope, where it literally sticks to your mind. Like, damn, I remember that. That was really cool.
And the fun part of the decorative show houses is it's my choice. And with clients,
Right.
you're collaborating and you're working with what they want. You have parameters, you have programming. Decorative show houses are just play. Let's do it.
Have a
Let's
good time.
So they have been some of my most fun projects.
Yeah, I look forward to the Decorative Showcase House every year.
Yeah,
Obviously, it's a good party too, so
they do.
I'm always out of parties.
That's right.
All right. So I want to dive in and ask you, what's the craziest story where you had to make something happen to get a job done or get a product or item to a client?
So I have both. The project that I just mentioned, that project in Montana, my client pulled us. He was hemming and hawing about the project here and there. Wasn't sure he wanted to do it. He pushed the architect off and the contractor off. And then I remember specifically, it was mid-October, and he had me and the architect and the contractor come and say, I want to do this project, but it has to be done by Christmas of next year.
Wow.
That's 13 months. And I look at the plans, and I'm flipping these massive plans, and I'm saying, this is a 10,000 square foot house.
Yeah.
And there's no dirt been dug. How are we going to do this? And I looked at the contractor, and he said, we'll do it, but it's going to be like immediate. Like, we got to go right now. And I looked at him, he said, he looked at me and he said, and you have to have all the information for me immediately. And I looked at it, I said, okay. So the plans came out, the contractor points at me and says, if you can get me the design, I can build the house. And the client looks at me and says, can we do this? And I kind of swallow hard and I say, let's do it.
Yeah.
Toothbrushes and toothbrush holders, every bed made, every pan, every refrigerator filled.
Wow.
13 months.
Wow.
It was chaos. And I designed 60 lights for this house.
Wow.
Custom design out of African bowls and cast glass. I kind of went overboard trying to make it special. This was an incredible house.
Of course.
It was chaotic.
That's unbelievable.
It was wild. Yeah. And then I've had products in Europe that got delayed that I had to fly over and pick up and bring back with me on the plane. I mean, that's pretty standard for antique dealers to do that. But yeah, so.
Wow. Whatever it takes to get a job done. But look, for somebody that's, built a home to do a massive project like that in 13 months, unheard of. Unheard of.
It was really, really wild.
But
and the team was perfect. I mean, the architect and the contractor got it done.
But again, that's your entrepreneurial spirit. Like, let's go. We got to get it done.
Yes.
Let's make it happen. Awesome.
Yes. So.
So we're gonna jump into this our rapid round of questions. This is sort of designed to make the show fun.
All right.
Have people learn a little bit about you and again have fun with it. So I'm asking some questions.
Okay.
We'll go from there. All right. Favorite place you visited and why?
Brazil is my favorite place in the world.
Brazil, why?
Rio de Janeiro.
Yeah.
It is just spectacular.
It is.
I've always had a thing for Brazil. I love Brazilian people. Rio de Janeiro is topographically the most beautiful place I've ever seen in my life for a city. There are many places that I love. That just holds it. It's got my heart. It's beautiful.
It is. Can't go wrong with Brazil.
Yeah.
All right. If you had to choose shot of vodka, tequila, or whiskey, and depending on what your answer is, we got something to do that too.
Clase. Clase Azul, man.
So we're gonna bring this over to your.
Let's do
We're
it.
gonna pop this open.
Well, you certainly have a good selection.
We got to thank my wife. She's the one that set all this up, so we're gonna make it fun.
Let's do it.
All right. So Casa Azul it is.
Clase.
So you said not one, but maybe multiple shots, huh?
Well, it depends on how we're feeling. How far do we have to drive?
I'm gonna do one with you too because I do like this a lot.
Yeah, this is the stuff.
Good to see you.
I'm an ice guy. Do you want ice or no?
I'm going to take it straight just like this.
Like a cowboy.
But I will.
You're the cowboy without the cowboy hat on. I'm the faker.
Cheers.
Cheers, buddy.
Good to see you, man.
You too, man.
It's super smooth. All right, while we sip on this.
Andale.
Yeah. While we sip on this, favorite rug, antique, transitional, or modern, and why?
I like antique rugs. I just like the history, the ushaks, the story, the age. Even like the Tuareg rugs. The story of how the Tuaregs were brought from the Atlas Mountains down and back and forth. And I don't know, there's just something for me about the history of rugs.
It's a pretty incredible story.
It's unreal.
So, yeah, I had the privilege of sourcing some really amazing ushak rugs for one of your projects. And
For me, I know.
I'll never forget, it was a beautiful large ushak.
Very large.
Very
It
large.
was,
Hard to
I
get.
think it was 16 by 20.
That's exactly what size it was.
Yeah.
It was 60
I
by
know.
20, and as you know, those are extremely rare to get.
Incredible.
So I
And
found you some
found it for me. That was a beautiful dining room. It was for the dining room in
That's right.
San Francisco.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right. Favorite sport to watch or play?
Well, I like to watch tennis. I like to watch skiing, downhill skiing and slalom and, Olympic skiing, World Cup skiing. I love to ski. I haven't skied much lately. I broke my collarbone a couple years ago.
Oh, wow.
Haven't skied. And I used to love to row.
Yeah.
But I'm so out of shape now that I don't even think I could pull on the oar anymore.
That takes a lot of energy to do that.
Yeah. So, but yeah.
Favorite music?
Favorite music? Brazilian.
Got to keep the Brazilian vibe going.
It's Brazil, bossa nova, jazz. Brazilian jazz, Brazilian contemporary, like that's my fact.
All right. Favorite car? And I know your car like feels.
I am a car guy. I have a few.
Yeah, you do.
Money aside, I would probably buy a 1969 Lamborghini Miura.
Oh, wow.
I don't have that kind of money. That or an late 60s Ferrari. Sort of mid to late 60s Ferrari.
I can see you in both.
Yeah.
I can see you in both. All right.
And also a 911, 1972 911.
Yeah, those are pretty fast.
I just keep going.
Yeah.
You know what I keep telling you? I mean, I got 50, 60 cars that I would love to have.
This is long.
Yeah.
All right. Poker, backgammon, pool, or ping pong?
Poker.
Texas Hold'em?
I like Texas Hold'em. I like them all.
Like them all. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Summer or winter?
Summer. Look at me.
Yeah.
Like a lizard.
I'm down with summer too.
Let's go to
That's
summer.
my thing.
We'll do a week of winter. Let's ski in
One
here.
week of winter is good.
Let's
Hot weather,
warm.
I'm down with that.
Yeah.
All right. Place you would love to do a project at?
Well, I would love to. It's funny. I would love to do a project in Europe. I have not done one yet.
We're gonna make that.
But I think I mentioned this too. I'd love to do a yacht
Yeah.
that could be in Europe, and then also be in the Caribbean.
Look,
Then you get Caribbean and Med.
I'm a big believer. You put it out there. You put it out to the universe.
Let's do
It
it.
could happen. So let's get Will a project in Europe
Let's do
on a
it.
yacht. That could be great.
Yeah.
All right. So our last question: coffee or tea?
Coffee.
From Brazil?
Brazil, yeah, Brazilian coffee. I like Costa Rican coffee, to be
Okay.
honest. That's my spot.
So I want to finish off the show. Before we linked up, you told me a really interesting story because you're always styling. You always got the look going, and you told me a story about the hat. So,
Well, you told me, you said, all right, well, I'll be honest with you. You said, you're coming down with the cowboy hat, right? And I said, well, funny enough, the night before, like a couple nights ago, my friends, we were out, and as we're leaving, he comes up to me, grabs the hat off my head, walks into an Uber, and drives away.
Oh man!
And I was like, that's not great, but whatever. I know him well.
Yeah,
It was like he was, having a good time. So when you asked me that, I said, I don't know where my hat is right now currently. And you're like, no, but you need the hat.
No, we need
This
the
is
hat.
you.
We need the hat, man.
So on the way down here, he lives 2 minutes off the freeway, and I said, oh, Yvonne, I need the hat for the interview. Apparently, I need to be wearing this hat.
Cheers to that. So,
here we are.
I appreciate you getting the hat, Will, for sure.
Of course.
Well, Will, man, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for spending time with us and being on the Rock Talk podcast.
I'm proud of you too. You're doing great stuff.
I appreciate it. Look, I just tried to create an environment, a platform for people to succeed, grow their businesses, and please, by all means, let everybody know about how they can learn about you, how they can get in contact with you, and hopefully get that project for you in Europe on the yacht. And once you finish that, I'd love to come and do the next podcast on the yacht.
Let's do it.
So we're going to plug. How do they find you on Instagram?
Gosh, so I'm not very good at this part, but Will Wick is my Instagram.
Okay,
that's one of them. My others, that's
and
the one.
We'll put that.
That's the one.
We'll put that in. We'll put that.
You can put it in. I'll put it. Like honestly, I need like someone to help me with all this stuff. But Will Wick
with the creative stuff.
I'm not an Instagram person, but someone.
We'll plug it
for me, but yeah, it's Will Wick, and that's pretty much what I go with. Like my website is willwick.com,
and I recommend you guys check it out because it's really the website's cool.
It's got some cool stuff. I've got my antiques on it. I'm on First Dibs. I'm on Cherish. You can access all my antiques through willwick.com and to my designs, and then text me or call me because that's how I approach people. I'm just like,
keep it.
I don't have like an assistant and an assistant's assistant.
Yeah.
I'm like accessible. Call me and let's get some design going.
That's amazing. Well, pleasure, my man. Great to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being on.
All right.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Hey guys, thanks for joining in on another episode of the Rock Talk podcast. Make sure to follow us on our social media platforms and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Looking forward to bringing you guys more content and interviews. Till next time, cheers.